everyone, I'm Anna Huthmaker with Huthmaker Violins. You found another one of our Students Stuck at Home series. This one is actually dedicated to Mrs. Flynn's students in Newburgh, New York. Ms. Flynn sent me a list of some great video ideas, and so this one goes out to all of y'all. She asked me to talk about cases, the importance of cases, and I thought I would expand on that a little bit. We're going to talk about cases and storage and transportation. And this video is for the violins and violas. Next video we'll do cellos and basses. So you probably just think that your case is just a random box that you throw the violin in or the viola in and that it's not that big a deal. But I'm here to tell you that it's very important. The case is protection for the instrument. And as such, cases can be a little expensive sometimes. Now, you may see on the internet a $15 case. And a lot of times those will be styrofoam. If you pick it up and it weighs like a marshmallow, that's probably not going to be the best choice for really protecting your instrument. I want you to think about your instrument for a second. Your instrument costs hundreds of dollars. So a case that's going to protect it well should have a little bit of value to it. So I want you, when you start to pick out your cases, the first thing I want you to think about is protection. Now, a lot of you guys will have these black, they're called thermoplastic cases. They're shaped, and here's the thing, that is a strong case. The truth of the matter is, if you trip, if you drop it, now anything can happen. None of these cases are completely foolproof, but it's going to do a pretty good job of protecting the instrument. This is the beginning case. So we love these cases. A lot of rental programs offer them. They're great. They don't have a whole lot of padding, but they're going to pretty much do. If you're a first grader, a third grader, or a fifth grader, these are a good place to start. From there, cases can get a little fancier. When it comes to actually using your case, one of the things I really want to remind you is that it is really important to keep the case upright. When you go to open your violin, first of all, make sure that the top is on top. Now, if you have trouble, if you have one of those cases like this one, if you look at it, well, you can tell there that there's some plastic things, but a lot of times the front, the top, and the bottom will look the same. This is empty, by the way. So you might want to take a piece of colorful tape, put an X on the top. So you always know it's really important to keep that violin upright. That bridge, we don't want it laying on the bridge. So now, cases can get more and more fancy. There's lots of cases in the world. You can literally spend thousands and thousands of dollars, but you don't need to do that. One of the things I do want to show you, this case, by the way, that's wooden in there, so again, it's going to be really protective. As you get better and as you move up in instruments, you're going to have an opportunity at some point to buy a rectangular case, and it's going to have what we call suspension inside. And I want to show you this so you know the difference. Now, this cute little case here, a lot of you may have one of these too. If you look inside, it's flat on the bottom. So it's got some padding, it's nice, but it's just flat. Now, I want you to look at this. This has these foam pads right here and right here and right here. This is the important one too. And what I want you to imagine is when the violin is in the case, it's being held like this. The back is not actually touching the case at all. There's a school of thought that says that if this case is to sustain a blow, get dropped, anything like that, that you have a much better chance of not having a really bad crack in your violin. This is called a suspension case. Now, a lot of violin shops will tell you, some will tell you suspension's the way to go, some will say, oh, it's not as good. Do your research, but when you start looking at nicer cases, they're gonna say, do you want suspension or not? Now, when it comes to storing your instrument, if you're not playing, keep it in its case. That's just kind of general good advice. However, the truth of the matter is, in your home, you will have a much better chance of practicing if the violin or the viola is out and visible. I was talking to an awesome customer today, and she said she makes sure her instruments are always in view of the couch. So if she's sitting on a couch and she can see the instrument, it reminds her to practice. So if the instrument's shut up in the case, a little harder to be reminded, right? So you can get these awesome violin stands. So these pretty wooden boxes are just that. They're very decorative, they're very pretty. I like them fine, but a lot of people also use these You can get a metal, plastic, and I love these because they're collapsible. You can fold this up, stick it in your bag. If you're going to play in church rehearsal, if you're going to youth orchestra rehearsal, sometimes this is easy to have, to carry along and keep your violin safe when you're on stage. So this is in terms of your storage. If you're not keeping it in its case, keep it in one of its stands. The last but not least I want to talk to you about is transportation. So you know how I said you really want to keep the top of the case always pointing up, making sure you're not laying it on its top. When you carry it, first of all, the handle's really the very best way to carry it. And when you're going through doors, you want to be careful. Don't go smacking it into doors and stuff. But if you're going to use the backpack system, a lot of these have places for you to put 2 straps. Make sure you're hanging it with the scroll side up. You don't want to be doing it upside down. Again, it's not very good for the instrument. When you put it in the car, I like it in the back seat. If you can put it in the trunk, but the temperature is not as easily controlled back there, and put it maybe on the floor of the back seat so that if the car stops quickly, it's not going tumbling. And remember, I said in an earlier video, never leave it in the car if you go in somewhere. If you go into a restaurant or to a mall, take it with you. You'll look like a rock star. So I hope that helps answer some questions about cases, about keeping them upright, about storing your instrument, whether it's in a case or on a stand, and about transporting it around. If you have any questions about any of this, you can look at www.huthmakerviolins.com and shoot me a message. I'm Anna Huthmaker. Now go practice.